Scott, a little more on winter season. So, that it can be tough, right? It's
Yeah.
as you said, it's cold. It's literally the worst conditions, right? It's either really really cold and maybe it's -20 and it's dry, and batteries won't start, that kind of stuff, or it's cold, maybe -2 to -4, rainy, wet, just tough conditions out there. Winds blowing. Sometimes you can't see.
Hmm.
Talk to me about this a little bit more. What's it like to be an operator, in the wintertime out there in the dark and the cold? Um, yeah.
Yeah, just like you said, the conditions vary. Everybody, I think, maybe has their preference. If it's like you said, -2, raining, cold, you get wet. I think that's probably the worst conditions for me. I get very uncomfortable at that point. -20, dry. That's seems terrible for some people, but I am a little more comfortable that way. But it's tough. It is equipment. The maintenance of the equipment becomes a huge benefit. You have to maintain the equipment at that point. It needs to be greased, batteries maintained, started. The winter season, we get big gaps where there's nothing going on and everybody gets really comfortable and say, hey, this is great. We haven't had to push snow in a little while. But then when that -20 comes and we got to go out and do our job, you have to make sure that everything's going to start and run. And when it doesn't, your day can change very quickly. Working outside, cold hands, cold feet, wind blowing. It can be a little miserable at times, but I enjoyed it sometimes. There's always something to tackle, and once you get going, it was fun. I really did enjoy it. The weather was always a challenge, though. Yeah.
Yeah, so many things that would be unexpected, but at the same time, I think the job of the business and the operators to try and expect these things. Did you ever run into the diesel fluid gelling up?
Yeah, I remember. I remember one day I came in and I think out of I don't know, a dozen tractors or so that were out and about around the city, in different areas. I remember going around and trying to start them, and just a myriad of issues. Gelled or frozen fuel, which just is never going to let a unit start. The only way to help that is to thaw it. The dead batteries, again, sometimes that's operators not fully understanding the mechanics, letting the glow plugs cycle multiple times before starting it definitely helps. But I know I've seen a few scenarios that in construction even too, because we will have construction sites that will go throughout the winter, and it comes down to the silliest things: not parking the engine into the wind. Turn a tractor to so that the back of the tractor is getting the wind. It may only be a few degrees, but it stops that driving snow from getting into those little crevices, and it can definitely be a tough time to get things to start. You start to learn little tricks and things to help you with that. But sometimes a mechanic is just your best friend. Sometimes you just need a little help.